this could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.
Hello YouTube, Dave here from 3 Squad Mining, and today I want to talk to you about the MSI Gaming X 3060 Ti. I have a few of these cards, some in some other rigs up here, and specifically talk about the models that end with DA. Now I'm sure you can see that this says DE here. That's because we've BIOS modded this particular card and this particular card also, which allowed us to get 3 to 4 mega hash higher, and actually it seems within the HiveOS software drop by approximately 20 to 27 watts here compared to our Zotac. Interesting to report that before BIOS flashing these particular MSI Gaming X cards, they were pulling the same wattage as this Zotac card, so I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to test this at the wall to see whether or not this is accurate running the new BIOS. But effectively what we found was when installing these cards and running them at 1350 core 1600 mem, we found that they were only doing 38 to 39 mega hash, and I couldn't get them any higher no matter what core clock or memory I set, with or without power limit, standard, out of the box settings, could never hit 40 mega hash. And so what we decided to do here was to BIOS flash them to actually the MSI 3060 Ti Ventus 2X edition. This is also a light hash rate card. It's just a different flavor created by MSI. They have a couple of different 3060 Ti models. And when flashing this particular BIOS onto the Gaming X card, we were able to reach 43, 44 mega hash. You're going to have to excuse it at the moment at 42 because it's doing SHA-256 ton here in the background. Additionally, as a slight test, which really only has a 1 mega hash impact here, and I'm doing that for the sake of another video, which you'll see shortly in the future. But even running ton at the same time, you can see that this is, 3 mega hash more than what I was getting at the very most with the original BIOS. So today what I want to show you how to do is what I did to flash these cards, just step by step in HiveOS, and so you can flash it back if you need to. I will put in a little caveat here that flashing the BIOS does come with risks. Although I've never had a problem flashing a BIOS in HiveOS, you can still brick your card on the very, very rare occasion, and I wouldn't suggest doing that if you're timid and have no experience with HiveOS or graphics cards or mining for that matter. So it's simple a matter of navigating to the rig in where your 3060 Ti that you want to flash is located, clicking the overclocking tab at the top here, and then first of all we want to download the Vbios. We want to pull that BIOS off of that video card, and we want to be able to save it either locally or within HiveOS itself, so that we have a backup. We can put the original BIOS back on if all goes not to plan, or your card doesn't hash after that, or whatever the case might be. So first of all we want to click on download Vbios, and then we're going to choose the card in which we want to download the BIOS from. In this case it's going to be GPU 0 for me. Now saving the BIOS to the farm will allow you to save it within HiveOS itself. It's not necessary. You can download it and save it to your computer if you'd like, so that's what I'm going to do in this case. And when you click download, it's going to download the BIOS up here. You'll get the little 3 flashing lights, and that's going to tell us when that's done. And the 3060 Ti, by the way, should be, if configured correctly, somewhere between 40 and 43, depending on the version you have. I've seen some people push them to 45, 46, but with the LHR, I really wouldn't recommend pushing it past 43. I don't want to burn my RAM out on the card or have my core clock set too high. I like to keep my cards nice and cool. So as we can see here, the ROM has been downloaded here, and it's at the top here in white. If you click on that, you can save the file and save it somewhere locally to your computer. And then we want to go ahead and flash our BIOS. So to flash the BIOS, we want to navigate to Tech Power-Up's 3060 Ti for the Ventus model here. I'll put a link in the description. And you can click Download Now to download that BIOS. Once you have that BIOS saved on your computer, you simply need to click on Flash Vbios from the same location where you were before under overclocking. Select the file. So we select Browse here, and we select the BIOS file. Now this is the one obviously that we just saved, but you're going to select the new BIOS. I am not going to flash this BIOS because it's already been flashed. So we would select the BIOS that you downloaded from Tech Power-Up, and then you would select the card in which you'd like to replace the BIOS on, and then select Upload. Actually, before you click on Upload, just a slight little warning about this option here. I always turn force flashing on, and the reason why is because the BIOSes are going to differ from one another, of course. If they're from the same manufacturer, if the card is from the same manufacturer, it could flash without a problem without this selected. However, most of the time there's some security check that goes on and determines this BIOS isn't meant for this card, and therefore it's going to fail. So if you turn this on by default and then select Upload, then it's going to force that flash, no matter what BIOS you attempt to put on the card. So you really need to ensure that the VBIOS that you've selected from this location here, the one that you downloaded, is in fact the correct BIOS. Otherwise you might find yourself with a dead card. So click on Upload. That will then go ahead and upload the VBIOS, like I said, and you'll get a message here that it has completed. Takes about 30 seconds or so, and after it's completed, it will advise you to reboot now, in which case you would like to, at that point, restart your rig. When you do restart your rig, you will notice that your code, this is the vBIOS revision here, will change from whatever it was before to DE. And DE is the version, of course, here that we've downloaded from the Tech Power-Up page. This is the best BIOS that I've found so far that works really, really well. And I know that it works with my MSI Gaming X and also my MSI Gaming X Trio cards, and they both came with a rather shitty BIOS, whatever it was before, the DA version. However, there are other versions of this 3060, like I think there's a DF. In fact, Tech Power-Up has a website with a complete list of cards. Oh, here it is, in fact, where you select your GPU brand, the card vendor, the card model, and as you can see, 3060 Ti here, we've got 15 different BIOSes listed here, ranging in different versions. Yeah, anyway, it is the top one here if you find yourself here, and you want to grab that one, making sure it ends in DE. So once it's restarted, you will find that this will have changed from DE to DA, and if you have left your core and memory exactly what they were before, you should see a significant rise in your hash rate. And from my experience, this has been anywhere from 2, as low as 2, all the way up to around 4.5, just under 4.5, 4.4 mega hash, quite consistently. In fact, if I was to take off this SHA-256 and this ton here, and I was to restart my machine, this would go, specifically this card would go all the way up to 44 using these settings here, 1350 and 1600. The power limit I always set on these cards to 130, but because of the SHA-256 ton in the background, I've set it to 145. As you can see, 102 watts and 114 watts with the new BIOS. Like I said, not too sure that that's correct. I will have to pull that out on a test bench and work out if that in fact is drawing that from the wall. I highly doubt it. I think this is wrong. I think somehow the BIOS mismatch, or the BIOS that's been flashed on here, is of course not what this card was looking for, and it's somehow screwing with these numbers. But if that is right, then not only are you gaining 4 mega hash, but you're also losing 25 to 28 watts at the wall, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, thanks for listening. I hope that helps you out with your 3060 Ti. And if you do have any questions, you can always comment down below. You can also find me in the Hobbyist Miners Discord channel most days of the week, 20 hours a day or so. So if you do see me there, feel free to say hi and ask me any questions that you might have there as well. Thank you. This is my first video. We're going to make a series of new videos coming up. Some of those are going to be live and in person. You'll get to see our new location, and you'll get to see our moving all of our rigs and all of our equipment to this new location where we've got ample power, ample space and ample cooling. It's going to be quite an adventure, and so I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you in the future and stop by and say hi on the Discord channel. So thanks very much, and goodbye YouTube.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.